Today, we are going to rewind the time before Cam Newton had his downfall and see if we can stop it from happening. But before we can get into that, less than 1% of people who watch my videos are subscribed. So if you could do me a huge favor and go down below and hit that sub button, that would mean the world to me. And also, let me know down in the comments below whose career I should rewind next. Let's get into the video. If you're a football fan, you know of Cam Newton, and you also know that he was one of the reasons the Carolina Panthers had a name there for a little bit. And he led them to 15-1 and were able to make it to a Super Bowl. But some things people don't know is after that Super Bowl, his career took a massive turn and he wasn't ever the same. And some people say Von Miller ruined his career, but I want to say differently, and I think the Panthers had something to do with it. So today, we're going to rebuild this team and make Cam Newton the player that he was always destined to be. And with that being said, we have to take a look at the players on this team and part of the reason why Cam Newton never really had the things he needed to succeed. He had the, stature, the ability and all that as a quarterback, but he also never really had the offensive line to protect him while he was a quarterback, and he never had a superstar wide receiver. And if you think Kelvin Benjamin is a superstar receiver, go take a look where he is now. He's not with the team. He's not on a team. He should be on a team, but he's not, because he ate his way out of the league. And if you ever know this famous quote, he's a Popeye's biscuit away, that's Kelvin Benjamin. And as a Panther fan myself, I know this team in and out, and so I know what it can become. And to be honest with you, this team has all the pieces it needs to win right now, but the only issue is we don't have an offensive line or wide receivers for Cam Newton. So we're going to simulate the first season, and that's what we're going to do to help build this team. And in the first season, the Panthers go 8-9 and miss the playoffs. And Cam Newton goes for 5,000 yards, 41 touchdowns to 17 interceptions. And Jonathan Stewart has 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns on the ground. And receiving, Philly Brown and Kelvin Benjamin were our #1 receivers, and Kelvin Benjamin had 16 touchdowns. So maybe this could be a career revival of him as well. Defensively, Luke Kuechly led the team, and Star Lotulelei had 8 sacks, Shaq Thompson had 7, and Coney Ealy had 7 as well. And we didn't get a lot of interceptions, but James Bradbury led the way with 3. Kelvin Benjamin also got 8 for Offensive Player of the Year. Here in player negotiations, there are a couple people we have to re-sign. Andrew Norwell is definitely someone you want to re-sign. I mean, he's a very good player. 80 overall with star development, only 25. He's happy to sign with this organization, and we are happy to have him. K'Wan Short, I'd want him because he is a Panther. In my opinion, I grew up watching K'Wan Short, but he just doesn't want to be here, so we're going to have to rethink on him. Ted Ginn Jr. is 32. We'd probably let him walk. Philly Brown had a good season, so I'm probably going to re-sign him. We need receivers. That's one big thing we were going to need. Charles Johnson, we're probably going to let him walk. Same with Tyler Larson. Chris Scott most likely is going to walk. A lot of these guys are going to walk. Zach Sanchez, I'm probably going to try to re-sign him for a long-term deal, and he does want to stay here. Any guy with star development is someone I'm going to want to keep around. And there isn't really much more I want on this. Yeah, not much. So I think the best case here is we give K'Wan Short a very player-friendly deal. If he doesn't want it, he wants it, so we do get him back. And the draft that we have in this one is going to be the 2017 draft. I started in year 2016 after the Carolina Panthers lost the Super Bowl. So that's the draft class. So we can try to get Christian McCaffrey in this one. And I think I'm going to do that because Christian McCaffrey is a big part of the Carolina Panthers. And him and Cam Newton can be a crazy combo. But before we look in free agency, we want to find out what we need for this team because we're going to be looking for the same players in the draft and free agency. Like I said, I want to upgrade at halfback because I think Christian McCaffrey is going to be the, main player here. We definitely need wide receivers. We need to upgrade the offensive line. Ryan Khalil can stay for right now, but I want to try to get another right tackle and a left tackle. And then defensively, I mean, there's really not much else you can say. We probably need are going to need a strong safety and a free safety because Trey Boston's on the older side. We do need a really solid corner and a right end and left end. But other than that, this team is, all around a good team. I just think we need to do a little bit of work to, make it our own. Here in free agency, there's a couple people I want to go after. And one of them is Hal Vaitai, who doesn't really want to be part of the team. But what I really need to get him because, like I said, I want to make sure Cam Newton has the best career possible, and the only way to do that is by getting him an offensive line. So I'm willing to overpay for a superstar tackle, and it looks like we're still losing to the Eagles on that. But let's go down the list here, see if there's anything else that we would want, and it's not looking like there is. Adam Thielen is here. This is probably before he was good with the Vikings. Eddie Lacy is here. I'm surprised it doesn't say 300 pounds, but that's not someone we're going to be looking at getting. I'm willing to overpay a lot for Hal Vaitai, but one of the things is I need it to be somewhat realistic, and I don't know if we'll be able to get him at all. He doesn't really want to be here whatsoever, and that goes down. Let's just send it through. If we're not able to get him, we'll try to get stuff in the draft. And we don't get Hal Vaitai. He goes to the 49ers, who aren't even on the top of his board. So let's go to the draft and see who we can get. So here in the draft, we have pick 13, but like I said before, I really want to get Christian McCaffrey. So it's going to be my goal to move up to be able to get him. And the only way we can do that is by moving our #1 pick overall for this year. And it's got to be for someone who is good. And so I'm thinking it's going to be, it's got to be like maybe the Colts, or maybe we can try to get like a 5th or something like that. Because, they're really going to have the best say. Or the Jets. Let's see how close this is just straight up. It's close enough where I think if we threw in like a 4th, we'd be able to get it. And no, they're not interested in that. What about a 3rd from next year? It's a done deal. We move up, and we're going to get Christian McCaffrey with our #1 overall pick. As long as he doesn't go before this, which in real life he went at 8, which is exactly where we're going to take him if we moved up. And it looks like Christian McCaffrey is here, and we are going to take him with the number 6 overall pick. We get Christian McCaffrey, who, in my opinion, is the best player in this draft. So let's go to our next pick and see who's available there. There's a lot of things that we need in this draft, but I'm going to have to look around to find out who we want to take, because I don't remember. Marcus May is a good option. Sidney Jones, the 6, could be decent as well. And I don't really know who else is here that I would want. Ethan Pochich would be very good. He's really good in the NFL right now. Juju Smith-Schuster is a wide receiver, and we do need a wide receiver. So I think we're going to go Juju Smith-Schuster here. That's going to be a very good pick for us. And I think that's kind of the end of our selection here. We can go to the 4th and see if there's any player that I even recognize the name of from this draft class, because some of these guys are big in this, this year. That's the thing. Like, some of these guys' names that you see are big name that are here right now. Fabian Moreau, Shaquille Griffin would actually be a stud. I know it's all the same face, but this takes a lot of time for people to do. So we're going to get Shaquille Griffin. Is Shaquille Griffin the one with only one hand, or is that his brother? I'm not sure, but we're going to sim to the 6th round pick because, to be honest with you, I can kind of recognize some of these players. So I think we can get some decent picks here. Fabian Moreau is still here. And I don't know, Devontae KZ, Desmond King, Corn Elders here. Yeah, these are really, like, I know some of these names. That's the thing. But I don't know if there's any. Mike Tyson is here. Yeah, I don't know if there's anyone here that I actually know. DJ Jones. I know he was a good player. I know he's a player for the Bengals right now, so I'm gonna select him with this pick. And we're just going to skip to the end of the draft, and let's show you the team. Here's a look at the roster after that. I didn't upgrade the offensive line at all this season. Disappointed in that, but I did get a running back for the future in Christian McCaffrey, as you already know. And Juju Smith-Schuster is going to be another really solid pick for us. I mean, in real life, his skill has kind of gone downhill, but let's hope that we can kind of keep it at where he should be. And then defensively, Shaquille Griffin is going to stay at our CB2. And then CB1 is going to be James Bradbury. Other than that, I think that's all the moves I'm going to make for right now. Next season is definitely going to be, next season is definitely going to be a huge rebuilding period, because that's when I'm going to really try to hit home on some of these positions of need. But let's see where we are at the end of the season. We go 15-2, which is almost as good as the previous season. And I say previous, I mean the Super Bowl season when we went 15-1. This is almost as good of a season, but it's just one extra game. And Cam Newton throws for 4,607 yards and 38 touchdowns to only 5 interceptions. A very good season from him. And Christian McCaffrey has 1,188 yards for 13 touchdowns. And Jonathan Stewart had 400 for 10. A very good two-headed snake at the running back position. And receiving-wise, Juju Smith-Schuster really helped this team, having 1,192 yards and 12 touchdowns. And Calvin Benjamin had 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns. Greg Olsen had 704 touchdowns. And defensively, Shaq Thompson had 12 sacks. David Mayo had 6. Star Lotulelei had 5, and K'Wan Short had 4. Luke Kuechly had 4 interceptions, Daryl Worley had 3 interceptions, and Thomas Davis Sr. had 2. A very, very good all-around year from this team, but let's see if we're able to win playoff games. So we are in the divisional against the Dallas Cowboys, who are a very, very good simulation team, but let's see if they're good enough to beat us, and they are. They beat us 27-24, so that 15-2 season means nothing, but let's hope we can build on that going into year number 3. And Christian McCaffrey wins Rookie of the Year for us, which means he's probably going to be up to a superstar X factor. For re-signing, Star Lotulelei is here, and we really do need to keep him around. He's a very vital piece of this defensive line, and he wants to test out free agency, but I may not let that happen because it's only $19 million to franchise tag him, and I'm going to do that. Thomas Davis is 35. I think the Panthers let him walk in real life at this time, and I think I'm going to do the same. Trey Turner, we let him walk this season, and I don't think I really don't want him to go, but he doesn't want to be here anymore, which sucks, but it is what it is. I'll try to get him in free agency if possible. Trey Boston's only 26. I thought he was older. I guess in real life he's older, so I thought he was in game. But we're going to give him a neutral deal, see if he wants to stay. And he will be here next season. A very, very good player to keep around. Calvin Benjamin, I know I said it, that he wasn't really a good part to this team, but I think it's going to be good to keep him around because he's been going crazy in this simulation. So it is what it is. Now, other than that, I think we can let everyone else walk. And let's take a look at the team. So here's what the team is looking like going into year number 3. We really do need to make some upgrades to this. Our offensive line has gone downhill tremendously. So I definitely need to try to get Trey Turner in free agency and also fill in some of the holes here. Wide receiver 1 is going to be good. Juju Smith-Schuster, even though he had a really good season, didn't get upgraded. Christian McCaffrey had star dev and got upgraded to superstar, but he is a 91 overall, and Cam Newton is a 93. And defensively, nothing much has changed on this side other than Thomas Davis leaving us, but David Mayo is going to take his spot. Kurt Coleman is someone that we need to replace. Shaquille Griffin has normal development now, which is kind of disappointing. But other than that, this defensive line is definitely going to need to take a step up. So there's a lot of things we can get, and let's see if we can get them in free agency. And there are a lot of options in free agency. Taylor Lewan wants to be here, and he's a superstar X Factor. So I don't think it makes sense to not try to go after him, as even if we just throw him a player-friendly deal, I think it's going to be super easy to get him. and we are very interested in him. Trey Turner is another person that I'm very interested in. He doesn't really want to be here, but mentor at position is Craig Olsen. I don't really understand that very much, but we're going to give him a very player-friendly deal. We are winning on him, and we could offer Sammy Watkins or Allen Robinson. I'd probably do Sammy Watkins, but we'd have to dish out a lot of money to him, and even though we have the money, I don't know if I'd be willing to do that. We are just going to keep that going. For the most part, Timmy Jurgen, let's give him a deal. I don't remember him at all, but we do need left end very much for our team. So let's give him a solid deal and see if he wants to come to the team. We are leading on him. We have one other position that we can sign, and I think we're going to have to go with a offensive lineman, like I said, because that's the biggest thing we need to do. I'll do a player-friendly deal for this guy, and let's send it through and see if we're able to get him. And we don't get Taylor Lewan, but we do get Trey Turner, Timmy Jurgen, and Cyrus Condiho, I think is the name. Not too sure on that. Let's see if we can get Thomas Davis a one-year deal and for him to come back. That would mean the world to me. Just like you subbing would mean the world to me. But let's see if we're able to get that. We do need to sign a kicker. I do remember that because we let Graham Gano walk. Jason Myers is going to be a good kicker for us. Perfect. Send that through. And we do have a punter, I think. Not sure. What tight ends or what quarterbacks are in here? So Sam Bradford and Jimmy Garoppolo, Teddy Bridgewater, Robert Griffin III, Tom Savage, Brian Hoyer. All those are crazy names, not going to lie. But I think that's it for free agency for this season. We got a lot of positions we needed. And let's look at my signings. Yep, we got a lot of good positions. Thomas Davis signed with us. So let's take a look at the team before we go into the draft. So not much has changed other than we have 2 upgrades on the offensive line. And other than that, I mean, we have Jurgen here. We have a decent defensive line. Thomas Davis is back. Love to have him. He is someone I looked up to when I was younger, so I really like keeping him around. But let's go to the draft, and this is going to be the 2018 draft. So let's see who we can get. This is the draft class with Baker Mayfield and Saquon Barkley. Denzel Ward would be an amazing guy to get, but I just don't think that it's realistic to be able to go get him. Minkah Fitzpatrick would also be amazing. We need strong safety, rusher, and a offensive lineman. Like Frank Ragnow would be really good. DJ Moore, we could try to bring him in. That would be another really good pick for us. Hayden Hurst to kind of fill in after, Greg Olsen is going to leave. I think let's take a look at the strong safeties of this class because we really do need to upgrade strong safety. Derwin James, Terrell Edmonds, Ronnie Harrison, Kaiser White. There's a lot of names that I know in here. What about free safety? Minkah Fitzpatrick, Jesse Bates, Justin Reed, and Tracy Walker. Troy Apke would also be a very good option. But let's also look at rush end. There's not a lot of people that I know in this one. This may be a really bad class for edge rushers. Josh Sweat, it says it's a day 3. He would be very good to get. But other than that, I think what we're going to be looking for is a center. Bradley Bozeman, Will Clapp, that would be a good get. Other than that, there's not really other options that I'd be looking at. Austin Corbett would be a good guy to get. Orlando Brown Jr., Alex Kappa would be good. Jordan Mailata would be good. So there's a lot of good players to get. Christian Kirk is here. DJ Chark is down later on the board. There are a lot of good options. Marquez Valdez-Scantling would be good. Ray McLeod. So I think we're just going to simulate to our pick. I don't know if I'm going to trade up for anybody in this draft. We're just going to hope someone's there at round 20, at pick 28. Sony Michel goes right before us. I don't know if that's Denzel Ward is still here at the top. And DJ Moore, Terrell Edmonds is still here. Oh man, this is tough. This is tough because we really need a corner. I think we have to go Denzel Ward if he's still here.
The Green Bay Packers are now
I like that pick a lot from us. I can't believe he was still there. So we're gonna skip to pick number 28 and see who we can get.
Clock.
I hope another good player is here. Fred Warner just went. Christian Kirk is here. Jesse Bates is here. I think we got to go Jesse Bates, and we're gonna put him at strong safety. He's a very good option. He looks like a stud. I mean, we know he's a stud, but in the game he looks like a stud because sometimes these draft classes don't really have the best for these players. So let's take a look at who's available in round number 4. Like I said, we need to be looking for a center. So let's go look at that, see if anyone's here that I know. Bradley Bozeman, he's a projected not even to get picked, but we know he can be good. So let's go with Bradley Bozeman in this draft.
On the clock
and
now,
he is only normal development. I don't know if that's really the case, but it is what it is. Not a big deal. We're just going to advance to the end of this draft, see what the CPU can get us, and then take a look at the team. So here's what the team is going to be looking like going into year number 3. And Calvin Benjamin is our wide receiver 1. Juju Smith-Schuster's right behind him. And Philly Brown is there up there as well. Bradley Bozeman was not a good pick for what it is. It kind of sucks because in real life he's really good, but I guess in just this draft class when it was made, he wasn't. Defensively, Jesse Bates is now going to be our strong safety. And for cornerbacks, Denzel Ward is going to jump up and be our CB2 because we have James Bradbury. I mean, I still think this is a very good team. I just think it could be a little bit better, but we're going to hopefully make it better next season. But let's see what we're able to do in year number 3. We go 8-9 this season, so definitely not as good as we could have done. And Cam Newton throws for 4,800 yards, 40 touchdowns to 14 interceptions. Christian McCaffrey has another 1,000-yard season with 11 touchdowns. Kelvin Benjamin had another stellar season, having 1,000 yards for 14 touchdowns, as well as Juju Smith-Schuster having 1,000 yards for 8 touchdowns. Star Lotulelei led the team in sacks, having 7.5. And it looks like Luke Kuechly led the team in interceptions, having 3. Even on a completely different team, Patrick Mahomes is still winning MVP with the Giants. Denzel Ward is 3rd for Defensive Rookie of the Year, and Jesse Bates is 6th for Defensive Rookie of the Year. 4 player re-signings. Star Lotulelei is back in here. Greg Olsen is as well. And Shaq Thompson, he's here, which he's young, and we really need to keep him around. He's still on the Panthers, and he's a staple for them. Greg Olsen is also a staple, but he's on the older side, so it kind of sucks to see that he may not return, but he is. He takes a 2-year deal, which is nice. Star Lotulelei didn't want to be here last year, doesn't want to be here this year. He's 29. I think he should take a player-friendly deal, and he will be back next season. Thomas Davis probably won't re-sign. We're not really going to re-sign any of these guys. David Mayo can walk, Devin Funches can walk, and there's really no one else here. We really do need to do a complete roster rebuild because a lot of these guys are getting older and leaving. The biggest pieces we're going to look for this season is obviously a wide receiver. We're going to look for a right tackle and a center, some backup tight ends, as well as looking for a right outside linebacker, and just overall a right end and corners. Denzel Ward is up to a 78 overall. So this team isn't looking that good right now, but hopefully by the end of this rebuild, it's going to be looking really good. That's perfect. We can get Stephon Diggs in free agency, and he wants to be here, which is the biggest thing. So I think it's just a match made in heaven. We are leading on him, and I think that is a very, very good option for us. Other people that we can look for in free agency, we need to get a tackle. Corey Robinson is here. He's a 27-year-old, 81 overall. We can switch him over to right tackle. I think that'd be a very good option for us. Let's see if he even wants to be here, and he does. So another player we can look for is a left end of some sort. Melvin Ingram, honestly, wouldn't be that bad for a 2-year deal. Keep him around for a little bit. I mean, we're gonna have a revolving door at some positions, but it is what it is. I'm not really seeing anyone else here that I would want. Other than that, I think we're good on. I think we're good for right now. I think we can send these offers through and see who signs. We get Stephon Diggs. We're still targeting Melvin Ingram, and we don't get the left tackle that I wanted. But let's take a look to see if there's any other good options. Matt Khalil, the Panthers could bring him back. He was part of the team for a little bit there. Darrell Williams, I mean, there's nothing really crazy for that, so I think we just leave that be, try to get stuff in the draft. But let's send it through, see if we're able to get a edge rusher, and we don't. So we're going to have to get stuff through the draft, but we did get a big need in Stephon Diggs. So this is the 2018 NFL draft. All the faces are the same, sadly, but this is the draft with Kyler Murray, Nick Bosa, Quinnen Williams, Devin White, Daniel Jones, Josh Allen. Josh Allen is someone I want, but down the line is when you get Brian Burns, who is someone I want. So I think I might try to trade up and get both of them because we need a right end and right outside linebacker, and they would fill both of those needs. So if I'm able to go from 13 and get both of them, that would be amazing, at least for me, in my opinion. So I think we're going to throw a second and a third next year at a team that has a high overall pick. Pick 8 would honestly be good for that. The Bengals are not interested in that trade whatsoever. What if I said I'd give you... Oh, we're expected to win the Super Bowl next year, so our first-round pick doesn't have any value. What if I give you the first-round pick this year? Or do we just go get Brian Burns instead of Brian Burns and Josh Allen? I think that may be what we need to do. Because sadly, I don't think we're going to have the capital to be able to get that. And plus, it's going to be nice to go through and see all the players that are here. In this case, I think we do want to get Brian Burns, unless he already went. Did he already go? Are you serious? Oh, I guess he already went. So we're going to get Montez Sweat, who, in my opinion, is just as good. Brian Burns is known as a superstar, but Montez Sweat is on one of the best defensive lines in the league right now at the Washington Commanders. So one of the things we need in this next pick is going to be a right outside linebacker. If there is someone that I know, I might go try to get them. And Eric McCoy, I do know that name. Other than that, I'm not seeing any other really good players that I know I want. DK Metcalf would be nice, but it doesn't make sense to go and get him because obviously there are other holes in our roster that we need to fill. So let's take a look and let's look at the left outside linebackers first. And Dre Greenlaw, but he's a day 3 pick. We can get him later. Right outside linebacker. Quincy Williams, maybe a good selection. But other than that, I'm not seeing anyone else that I really want. So I think we are going to be going with Eric McCoy here, unless there is a right tackle or something that I know. Connor McGovern, I know him. Cody Ford, Nate Davis, Ben Powers, I know that name. Greg Little, though, I do know Greg Little. He was on the Carolina Panthers. Do we go back and get him? He wasn't that good on our team. So I think Eric McCoy is the better pick here. He does have hidden development, so that is very good for us. I think with this next pick, because Eric McCoy, he's probably gonna play center for us. I'm not sure yet. In this pick, we do need an outside linebacker. That's the thing. We need an outside linebacker, and we need one badly. But I mean, if Terry McLaurin's gonna be here in round 3, you have to get him, right? Yeah, you're going to have to get Terry McLaurin here. If that's the mistake I make in this rebuild, I'm completely okay with that. It's not that big of a
It's
deal to
the
me.
Carolina Panthers now
Let's
on
take a
the
look
clock.
at right, like outside linebackers. Quincy Williams is up there. I think we go with him right now. Normal development,
Now on the
that's
clock,
good. He's really
the
just
Los
a
Angeles
hole
Chargers.
filler right now because we have no one playing right outside linebacker.
The
And
Carolina
I think
Panthers now on the clock.
with this next pick, we do need to go right tackle. I have no clue who Yandi Kajuste is, but Ben Powers is here, so I think I'm going to go with him. Normal development, no
On the
big
clock
deal.
now,
I think we
it's
just
the
sim the
Los
rest of
Angeles
these picks
Chargers.
and take a look at the team that is going to be going into year number 4. So here's a look at the team going into year number 4. And Christian McCaffrey is a 93 overall with superstar development. Cam Newton is a 91. Stephon Diggs is a 93 overall. Kelvin Benjamin is an 85. And we got Terry McLaurin. The offensive line is looking a lot better. And defensively, it's also looking a lot better. I think we do need to try to find a right outside linebacker because Quincy Williams just isn't really going to cut it, and we do need to find some like backups. But other than that, I think this is a solid looking team. So let's see what we're able to do. The Panthers make it to the playoffs going 10-7. Cam Newton throws for 5,000 yards, 37 touchdowns, but did throw 17 interceptions. Christian McCaffrey has 1,416 yards for 17 touchdowns. A very, very good season from him. Stephon Diggs had 1,351 yards for 6 touchdowns. But Kelvin Benjamin almost had 1,000 yards for 17 touchdowns, which is a very, very good year from him. Timmy Jernigan leads the team with 9.5 sacks, but Starla Tule and K'Wan Short were close behind with 7.5 and 8. Christian McCaffrey almost wins Offensive Player of the Year, but sadly he loses out to Marvin Jones Jr. from the Lions. Let's see if the Panthers are able to take down the Packers to make it to the divisional round and maybe win a Super Bowl, and they do. They win 35-21, and now we're going against the Seattle Seahawks, who are 10-7. This would be the first time we make it to the conference championship, and we can't. We lose 27-24 to the Seattle Seahawks. So for player re-signings, we have James Bradbury here, who is a solid corner for us, but I think we need to try to bring him back, and he doesn't want to come back. It's fine. We're not going to franchise tag him because this is the last season I'm going to be simulating to see if Cam Newton can win a Super Bowl. Because I'm already said his career is doing much better than it did in the past. But we're going to see if we can win his Super Bowl for one last time for him. And we are going to let everyone here walk. And we're going to go into free agency with a ton of money and try to spend as much as possible. Dak Prescott is here in free agency, but we already have one of the best quarterbacks in the league in Cam Newton. Von Bell is here as well, who would be another good get, but I don't think we're going to go after him. And there's not a lot of people in this draft or in this, free agency class that I want to go after. So I think we're just going to go after a couple guys that could make our team better right now, and that's going to be some cornerbacks. So we could go for like Casey Hayward or Kevin Seymour, or we could try to get James Bradbury back, and I think we're going to do that with a player-friendly deal. But I think we're going to go into this draft class and we're going to move up a ton and see how many good players we can get with a name you recognize. This is the draft class with Joe Burrow and Chase Young. And Chase Young is a player that I kind of want to get, but I don't think it's that realistic. It's also kind of funny because I downloaded this from the Madden Share Center and they have Little Yachty as as some of the players' faces. So that's funny to see. So I kind of want to get one of those players down the line. But we do need to find someone who we want to take. We need a right outside linebacker, and I don't know if there was any good ones in this draft class. Kenneth Murray Jr., Josh Uche, Alex Highsmith is a good one to see. Nothing else really catches my eye. And there's not really any players that we need other than those guys. So I think, even though this is the last year, I think we trade up and try to get Chase Young, who really hasn't had the career that a lot of people expected him to have. So this is with the one with Joe Burrow, so he's definitely going to go number 1 overall. So I think we send a first and a second to the who had the number 1 overall pick? Who changed to the Lumberjacks? The Bengals changed to the Lumberjacks. So let's see. Who has the number 2 overall pick? I didn't really check that. I probably should have. But we're just going to go down this line here and see the number 2 pick. I'm hoping that this is like our year to win it all. It would be amazing for that to happen. The Commanders have it. They would actually get him in real life. They don't want to swing at that. I think we just trade all of our assets to go up and get this. I think we trade 2 first-round picks to do this. It makes sense to me. You love to see it. It's a done deal. It looks like we're going to be able to get Chase Young with pick number 2. If he doesn't go with pick number 1, which I doubt it,
With the next
he goes at pick number 1.
Carolina Panthers.
It should have been Joe Burrow 100%, because Joe Burrow is still here. But it's all good. I guess we're going to get someone else. Jedrick Willis would be a good choice. Let's go get Jedrick Willis. I mean, we traded up for Jedrick Willis, I guess. Sadly, it's not really what I wanted, but it is what it is. Let's advance to the end of the draft. See who the bot picks, the AI, and we're gonna see if we can win a Super Bowl in the last year of reviving Cam Newton's career, because really this was a career revive, but also stopping the downfall from happening. So let's see. So going into the final year, Cam Newton is an 89 overall, playing up to a 93. And Christian McCaffrey is now a superstar X Factor. Stephon Diggs is a superstar X Factor still. This offensive line is looking really good with Lil Yachty in there. And then defensively, you know, we really do need a right outside linebacker, but there wasn't really any good ones. But other than that, I think this team can win a couple games. If not, make it to the playoffs. And when you have a guy like Cam Newton, your team can do anything. So let's find out. The Panthers go 14-3 in Cam Newton's last year. Cam Newton throws for 4,364 yards for 35 touchdowns to only 9 interceptions. A very, very good season from him. Christian McCaffrey was also crazy for 1,300 yards, 9 touchdowns. But Zach Moss had 17 touchdowns, which is even crazier. Sadly, Stephon Diggs only had 900 yards for 3 touchdowns, but Calvin Benjamin had 900 for 11, and Christian McCaffrey had 900 for 3 touchdowns receiving, and he is a running back. He is insane. Timmy Jernigan had 12.5 sacks, and Star Lotulelei had 10. And interception-wise, James Bradbury had 4, and Luke Kuechly had 3. Christian McCaffrey can't win Offensive Player of the Year as he's at 4. But it only matters if the Panthers are able to win a Super Bowl. So let's see if we're able to win in the divisional round against the Bears. And it looks like we do 31-28. But let's see if we're able to get payback on the Seahawks from last season and beat them. So let's simulate the game and see, because they're 11-6 and we're 14-3. So let's simulate straight to the Super Bowl and see if we're able to make it. We have home field advantage, and we win against them, and now we're going against the 12-5 Raiders in the Super Bowl. Let's find out if Cameron Jarrell Newton can win his first ever Super Bowl and not be embarrassed like he was in the last one. They have Khalil Mack, so it could be another Von Miller story. But let's find out, and we don't lose. We win 32-7 against the Raiders to win a Super Bowl. So that's what it's going to be like if Cam Newton never had his downfall. Let me know down in the comments below whose career I should rewind back to and rebuild. And also, make sure to drop a follow and like and subscribe. I don't know why I just said all that. Peace.